Man, I don't have time to go on for too long. Hello, it's Monday morning. I noticed this morning losing time to distraction and something I've been paying attention to for the last few days is that feeling of dread in the pit of your stomach, and kind of tracking that down. Um, it's very common and it's very commonly ignored from what I hear. And so quieting my mind and paying attention to body sensation. Like if I'm feeling uncomfortable, that was my prompt to check in with my body, and it brought me there. In my distraction and going through reels, one of the things I came across was or Dostoevsky. I don't know if it's a quote, but thought, I guess, that a lot of his misery came from needing to attain greatness and the lack that not coming, or thinking that that's how. Sometimes we don't recognize that it's ultimately like searching for love, for being loved, being acknowledged. And as much as I'd like to deny that I have that, I certainly do, and it's a deep part of what's going on with me. So I've been giving more time with sitting with that sensation and to recognize the story of shame, of wanting, of feeling a lack of, um, you know, it's not the acceptance of not being great, it's the lack of acceptance that it's like, oh, I should be doing better. I should do something, should create something, should put myself out there. Like putting down the shoulds and attending to that deep feeling of, first of all, of being drawn to that, but then the sensation of that feeling in my stomach. And then putting away the story and just allowing for that feeling, whatever it is. And almost kind of speaking to it of like, it's okay that you're here, and to not ignore it, to not turn to my phone and start going to the video reels, not to, turn to daydreams of greatness or talking about it or how I'm going to talk about it on this video, and not to go and get something else to eat, and to just allow for that feeling to be here, and to not necessarily keep ascribing a story to it of either shame or lack or whatever, and to just say, this is a feeling in my stomach and it's okay. And I don't have to work on dissipating it. It is uncomfortable, but it's okay for it to be here. And the more I can accept it, the more it can start to move. There are a couple of videos where I saw people either talking about it or doing it live, that if I find them, I might post them in the details. But it's at the core of a lot of the work that's to be done when it comes to moving forward in my life, I'm hitting this, it's in my way. This feeling of lacking is in my way, and I'm noticing the kind of distractions that I'm engaging in instead of just um, living, either experiencing stuff or doing work, and sometimes it's in the way of work. Um, and I decided to take a break and do this video during work because it's like I was very distracted this morning. I was like, it's funny if you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, like um, things interfering with work are oftentimes a prime reason to take action on something or prescribe something. Um, so though it's not that like work is the most, it's an indicator. It's a solid, poignant indicator. If I'm not effectively, if I'm not working effectively um, in this lifestyle that I'm in, um, if nothing else, gets you to pay attention to what is needing your attention in your body and in your life, work can be one of those things. Um, yeah, that gets your attention there. So I wanted to share this because it's a way to release something, to express something, and to share something, because I know I'm not the only person feeling. Others have noticed this and approached it, and to see people working through it. On an emotional level, there's definitely stuff to let go, um, that I need to keep coming back to, and I do keep coming back to healing from this need to ascend to greatness, to be recognized or acknowledged, to be seen. I I want to pay attention to this feeling so that I can um, be more and more authentic in being seen now and being living to the fullest without needing to ascend to anything or anywhere. So that anything that I do or accomplish is a function of being present and being alive, and not necessarily like ambition to fill a gap of acknowledgement or of love. Um, so, yeah, it's interesting to pay attention to that sensation, paying attention to the emotional content, but then not having to. I had a smart way of putting this earlier. Like earlier today, I allowed for noticing the uncomfortable feeling in my stomach and the thoughts that are, they associate themselves with this feeling without, these two things don't have to be connected. They kind of artificially connect themselves, that it's, you know, it's this need to explain this discomfort, to explain it and then distract from it. And it's okay that it's this guttural reaction to life, and it's a distraction from anything that I'm about to do. It's this like, this better lead to something good kind of a thing. So it's part of it is that, of like, will this get me closer to greatness? And it's like, I need to drop that question. And it's this, it goes unnoticed unless I'm conscious of what's going on. So when I notice it, that's how it shows up. Um, 'Cause sometimes I just want for there to be nothing to do, and then I'll feel free to do something. Because so much of what I need, there's so much that like needs to be done, like work, like cleaning up, like even singing or writing a song. Like if anything fall, if anything is given the value of needs to be done or like needs to be accomplished, not experienced, but accomplished, suddenly this story comes up of like, okay, this accomplishment better amount to something. Um, so letting go of that and then noticing the sensation that comes up from that, like discomfort that that accomplishment is not yet here, that I've not yet accomplished. Um, yeah, it's interesting to work with that feeling and to acknowledge it as completely normal and to not distract from it and to not be in this like, oh, I'm gonna like look at me, I'm doing shadow work, like to put all that down because that's also just a distraction from being with this feeling and accepting it and not needing for anything to go anywhere. This is a fundamental change that I want in my life so that I can more and more experience like that life is experience in the present and not something to accomplish. And each task can be its own experience and not something to accomplish. Because so often those are, you know, not because, so often, disjointly, a lot of people who seem to be accomplishing so much are doing it in a way that's selfless and they're just doing what feels right in the moment. And it feels like letting go of this need to accomplish things. You start doing great stuff just because you're curious and you're experiencing stuff and you're like, oh, let's do this. What about this? Oh, let's do that. Um, and there's a lightness and a joy there. And there isn't that need for the sticker of accomplishment, love, and acknowledgement and accolade and noticing of movement. So it's this constant. There's a to use some words that I've used that I've heard used that like there's an ego that's like attaching itself. I almost think of um, uh, the director who the artist who created Spirited Away is really good at depicting this of like that you can be in action and then there's like this ego monster of some sort that keep on wa- keeps on wanting to attach itself to whatever it is that you're doing. It's like it's something to eat for that little monster that can become a very big monster. Of like, oh, what are you experiencing? What's your curiosity? Oh, I'm going to make that into my accomplishment for me to eat or attribute to myself, like says the ego. So to acknowledge it and to let it go, and maybe also, I've been pretty good at this too when I focus enough to not treat it as a monster, to treat it as a child who needs love, and to not identify with it and say, oh, that's me. I'm, this small thing that needs something. But instead to notice that like there's an ego monster child wanting to attach to whatever I'm experiencing, to um, not identify with it and say, hey, you deserve love and here's a big hug to you, and to notice it and to hold it without letting it consume my experience, so that I can just work or just clean up or just play music and breathe and enjoy and experience what I'm doing, and not have something I'm aiming toward, because that seems to be a source of misery, needing to accomplish something. Thanks for letting me share.